Hello and welcome back to Ellie Talks Tech. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to update the firmware on the Canon EOS R6. Canon released an update recently, July 2022, so that's the version that we're going to be putting on this camera body, and then I'm going to show you how to switch on CLOG in case you want to shoot in a more flat profile for a cinematic look or feel. So if you're ready, here's what you'll need. You'll need your camera body, a computer, a memory card, and that's it. You should also fully charge your battery before you run this update, because if your camera dies in the middle of an update, you may have problems. All right, so laptop or computer, camera, memory card, fully charged battery. You ready? Let's get into it. So first things first, you're gonna wanna download the firmware. You're gonna wanna make sure that your camera is ready to go. And then you're gonna run the update. It takes some time, so if you have to be somewhere in 30 minutes, don't update your firmware right before you leave. Give yourself the time to do it. Okay, I'm going to be putting the software right on an SD card. So camera on, SD card slot open, and then we're gonna go ahead and go to the menu and format. Okay, now we're going to put the firmware on this SD card. This will be a Mac view for the software. There are lots of Windows tutorials as well, but we're eating our apples every day over here. So on the computer that's reading your card, you're going to go to Canon's website, and I actually just Googled Canon R6 firmware update to take me directly to that product page. So at the top of this page, you'll see product information, but you can scroll down or click on the tab that says drivers and downloads, because that's where the firmware download is going to be. And the page that you're seeing here looks a little bit different than the page now. They updated their website between the time that I recorded this and the time that it's being released, but it will still be under firmware, and you'll select from either a Mac or a Windows operating system. Again, I'm doing this on a Mac, so that's what it's going to show, but if you're doing it on Windows, go ahead and select Windows instead. So they pop up in informational windows showing you where to find your download, because on Mac especially, it can be hard to find that DMG file, and I'll show you why in just a second. Go ahead and navigate to your downloads folder, and you'll see the DMG. And when you double click that, it will actually install like an external drive. So you'll see it where I have a memory card already inserted into my computer. Well, it'll show up right under that part so that you are looking at it as though it was another drive. So when you click on that drive, quote unquote, you'll see the firmware, and you can either copy and paste or drag and drop like I did to your memory card. And once you have that file on the card that you're putting back into your camera, you can go ahead and eject the disk. All right, first thing that I'm gonna do so that I don't forget is remove the lens off my camera. If you're updating the firmware, you probably know how to do that, but just press the button, twist the lens off. And some people don't believe in lens caps, but I sure do. So you're gonna go ahead and just protect the shutter, shall we? This camera's expensive enough that it is worth it. Moving this to P mode. Turn the camera on, going to our menu, and we're going to go all the way over to the firmware version. We're going to update it. Make sure it's the right firmware version. You have to use the dial to go over, by the way. You can't just touch it. All right, so she's gonna chill for a while, get that update taken care of. Okay, we're back. The update is installed. We're just gonna go ahead and say, okay. And then I'm going to make sure that CLOG is enabled on this camera. To enable CLOG on your camera, you're going to go to the red menu, and then number 3, make sure that you're in video mode, otherwise it won't show up at all. And then you'll scroll down to see Canon log settings. Click on that, press your little set button to open it up and see if it's turned on or not. So I'm gonna just show you, this is what CLOG looks like side by side. You know, we can even, let me just selfie it so you can really see side by side, shall we? Or we can do it this way so they're shooting the same way. See the difference? iPhones have a color grade system already put on them. So does CLOG. It's a type of color grading, but it gives you more dynamic range when you're going to edit
And that's what I want.
So this firmware update does just a few minor tweaks. The Canon S-Log feature was actually enabled with version 1.4.0, but if you hadn't turned it on yet, now you know how, right? So this update adds the ability to convert multiple HEIF images into JPG images. It enhances movie digital IS and improves stability when you're taking selfies on your camera or wide shots while walking. And then the ever descriptive fixes minor issues. I find that it's usually just a good idea to keep your firmware updated. It helps the whole camera function better. You never know exactly what they're fixing, so I like to just make sure that my camera stays up to date. And of course, if you're curious about Canon log features, you can go ahead and pop over to the video that I released just before this one on Tuesday, showing you more about CLOG and how it looks, feels, and edits, and why you should consider using it depending on the look that you're trying to achieve. So I hope this helps. Of course, as always, drop your questions down below. If you feel like this really helped you, send it to a friend who might need the same help. And of course, hit subscribe for more videos like this. I'm coming at you every Tuesday and Thursday with tech tips, gear reviews, advice, industry info, you name it. But we get it all here on Ellie Talks Tech. So I hope to see you back real soon.